Hey, you know what time it is? It's This Week in Sports. It's TWIS. This past week has been a tremendous week for myself personally, doing some announcing for some baseball. The Oilers make the playoffs. Raptors avoid elimination in the first round against Philly. The Blue Jays come off a series win against Houston, all three close games. And of course, this week in sports history, TWISH. But first things first, I want to talk a little bit about my experience this past weekend. I got to thank the Edmonton Riverhawks, our baseball team here in Edmonton, Alberta, for allowing me to do some PA announcing down at Remax Field for their collegiate games. Had an absolute blast. Went in there this past Friday, and it was everything I thought it would be and more. It gave me the rundown of how to use the equipment. Not only was I PA, not only was I doing the public announcing, public address announcing, but I was also DJing. So I had to put together a playlist. I had to do all the walk up songs for all the home team players, which I have had experience doing before with my sister Naomi last year when we rented out Remax Field with the team with the E Town Riots. Shout out to the E Town Riots. If you guys want to come, if anyone listening that doesn't hasn't come and played or only played a couple times, come play some more. We play every couple times a week, usually Saturdays and Wednesdays. I think we're trying to do this year. Saturdays usually at Borden Park, Rundle Park. Get at me on my socials if you want to come play. But yeah, we rented it out last October, Remax Field. That's where kind of this whole thing started happening. The ball started rolling. I met all these contacts for the Riverhawks. Started there, but with that experience under my belt, doing that, uh, like renting out the field, I made it a thing to get everyone's walk up music during that, and me and my sister Naomi put together a playlist for all the walk up songs and some ballpark sounds and stuff like that. So I had experience doing the DJing and and the music as far as keeping the fans entertained during a baseball game. So controlling that. Luckily, the first day on Friday, I had my brother Caleb with me, who helped me out a bunch because at first it was quite overwhelming, and it went pretty well, all things considered. And it was an amazing time. The Friday was such a good time. It was sun was out, beautiful weather, beautiful Friday evening, and I mean the view doesn't get better from up there. We took a bunch of pictures, and there was, because it wasn't the actual Riverhawks, it was just the collegiate game. There was only a few hundred people in there, but it was nice to have some fans in there, and it was a good vibe. We were able to DJ it up pretty well. There was some kinks in that first day on Friday, but by Sunday, when they invited me back to do it again, it's a lot of them were ironed out. Sunday I had to roll solo, and it went tremendously well, all things considered. I had to multitask. I was running the computer with the Spotify and all the music, all the walk up tunes, all the ballpark sounds with the volume. With there's two volumes that I got to keep track of, the music, and then they have a brand new uh, video screen in left field that you have to control the volume for as well when you're on the mixing board. And I was rocking that because in between innings, we would want to put some videos up depending on who was coming up to bat, um, whether it be me doing the music or Randy Gregg. Shout out to Randy Gregg for giving me this opportunity. He was controlling the video, VJing, if you want to put it like that. He was the one who's doing all that, and we communicated really well, even more so on Sunday. So we were rocking it back and forth, and it was a pretty smooth presentation, I think, compared to Friday. I mean, Friday wasn't terrible, but it was the first time for everybody, first game, and so there was a lot of kinks that had to be ironed out. And by Sunday, um, considering I was by myself, it went great. And both days were double headers. So Friday I was there for like, I don't know, 6-7 hours. But I mean, it was tremendous. had a great time. And then yesterday I was there for the same amount of time, a little bit longer because the games were a little closer on Sunday than they were Friday. Yesterday, the last game, the second game actually, came down right to the bottom of the ninth. It was a walk-off win for the Calgary Dinos because they were the home team on Sunday because I guess the teams were supposed to go play down in Calgary, but Calgary had some pretty bad weather and some snow, and they couldn't work on the field down there, so they just stayed up here. So Friday games, Edmonton Collegiate Hawks were the home team, and then on Sunday they were the away team. And the Dinos walked off the second game, but it was entertaining all in all. I met some of the guys that I had Zoom interviews or Zoom meetings with that were part of the Zoom meetings leading up to the season. I met them in person, which was nice. And so I'm going to be hearing back from Randy or Steve Hogle, the GM of the Riverhawks, this week, and I guess they got some games coming up this weekend. So hopefully, if I'm available and all goes smooth, I'll be able to go announce at least some of those games this weekend. Because it was an amazing time, and it was I was getting the hang of it. Hitting pause, turning off the mic, like just having I got the order of things I had to do. I got it down pat by the end of yesterday, because you don't want to keep the mic on, you don't want to keep it live during play because you don't want to distract the players on the field with your chit chat up in the booth. So you got to turn that off in between pitches and whatnot, but you got to be able to remember to turn it on at the same time, doing the walk-up music, at the same time turning up the volume on the music, and then doing the opposite, turning it down, turning it off, pausing it, and all that. It all has to be like timed perfectly when the batter comes up, when the batter's in the box, when the pitchers come set, when the pitcher's ready to pitch. So I was getting the hang of that, and it was a lot of fun. It was. And like I said, there's no better view. I mean, up in that booth, you see the whole field. You see quite the view past the outfield fence. There, you got the new Walter Dale Bridge, lights up at night. You got the old Epcot building that's got like new lights on it. It's kind of like old school nostalgic, but like with some new school flavor. And then you got like the bright lights of the ballpark. So I'm gonna post some more pics. And it's an unforgettable experience that I'm very grateful for. And I want to thank Steve Hogle, Ryan, forget his last name, who we've met first. It was the first guy we met, part of the Riverhawks last year when I rented out Remax Field. He was my first contact. And he's the one who's gotten me into contact with Randy Gregg. And then Randy hired Steve Hogle for the GM spot earlier this spring. So I've been in contact with all of them. We've had a good working relationship here, and they're super cool, and they're giving me a lot of feedback and helpful feedback, and I hope to obviously improve. I mean, if you don't improve time in and time out, what are you doing? You're wasting your life. So you always got to try to get better, no matter what. So yeah, like I said, hopefully be able to hit that back up this weekend and get better. I want to get some more baseball sounds because I was running out of baseball. Like I had different playlists. I had the walk-up songs. I had inning fillers, so a bunch of good music, some bangers, some hits that everyone knows, and then I had ballpark sounds. So like the and like the charge, shit like that. And but I ran out of those. Like I only had, I don't know, a handful, like maybe a dozen of them. So I got to download more of those and try to find some other ones. And I want to make sure I get like some sound effects of like windows smashing or people getting hurt or something, because some of these foul balls go outside of the stadium and you don't see where they go. So it'd be nice to have some flavor in that regard. So gonna add some more flavor, get more comfortable in the booth, and something that also improved from Sunday, or on Sunday from Friday, was they were giving me monologues and stuff to promote, and just they were writing me stuff out to say on the mic. So it's moving in the right direction, and this is giving me a ton of experience and something that I can have under my belt and have on my resume for future announcing gigs and future announcing opportunities, and it's going to help me tremendously going forward, especially when it comes to Indian Relay, which is something that's obviously I'm going to be doing this summer as well, doing some announcing for them. So all this experience is helping tremendously, and I can't wait to do it again. But big news from this past week in sports, from TWIS this week in sports, the Edmonton Oilers, for the third time, 3 straight years, make the playoffs. I'm assuming that the hand clap went. I don't have my headphones in. Let's see if it does here. Give them three round of applauses here. Yeah, it does work. They make it. They lost yesterday, though, against Columbus, so they weren't able to clinch home ice yet. More than likely, we'll be facing the LA Kings in the first round, and we're just trying to secure home ice advantage now. That's the one thing we're playing for, home ice advantage in the first round, and that's obviously going to go a long way, especially in Edmonton. And so I like the matchup against LA. I think we're going to play well. Nurse has been out. He left. He left early in the game against I think it was Colorado. But he should be back for the playoffs, they say. So I mean, we absolutely need him. He's our best defenseman, and the Kings' best defenseman is out for the year. So we're looking all right in this matchup against the Kings. And if all goes well and we win against the Kings, and the Flames win their first series against one of the wild card teams, I'm not saying I'm cheering for the Flames, but it would be crazy, absolutely mind-blowing to have a Battle of Alberta in the playoffs. That'll be the first time in, I think it's since like 1990 or the 80s. I can't remember the stat, but I haven't been alive for a Battle of Alberta matchup in the playoffs. It's never happened in my lifetime. So that would be absolutely incredible if that happened in the second round. But first things first, we got to clinch home ice, and then we got to beat the LA Kings. Which I don't think it's even going to go 7. If you face the Kings, I'm calling it. I apologize if I made a prediction in a previous episode. I'm going to say Oilers in. I'll be conservative. I'll be Oilers. No, fuck it. Oilers in 5. Let's go. Because we'll have home ice advantage. So let's do it at home here. Let's do it in the 5th game on home ice. That'll be dope. So Oilers in 5 against LA if we have home ice advantage, which it looks like we're gonna be clinching pretty soon here. We got 3 games left. Pittsburgh's up next tomorrow, or depending when we drop this, Pittsburgh's up next. So Crosby against McDavid. Penguins are also go to the playoffs. The matchups in the East are pretty much set. I think in the next episode I'll do my predictions when they're actually set in stone and who has home ice and all that. I'll do my predictions for the first round and keep track of those and see how many of them I got right, because I remember I did that for the NFL playoffs, and I think I did okay for the first bit, and then I just fell off. But see if I can improve on my predictions for the NHL playoffs. In other Oilers news, Kane got a hat trick this past week against the Avs. Took it to them, and then he also got the first goal yesterday against Columbus in a losing effort. But Kane's on fire. I heard a stat, he's like plus 25 or something since coming to the Oilers, which is just like absolutely ridiculous. And so obviously a terrific acquisition. It's funny though, like whenever we play other teams, everyone hates on him, and for whatever reason. I mean, he's got history, obviously, like off the ice, but that's probably a lot of the things that these other players beak at him is his off ice history. But I mean, he doesn't care. He's a good player. I always thought he was a good player on the ice. obviously people have their lives outside of hockey, and he seems to be, doing well for us, keeping his nose clean. And I mean, he has to in Edmonton because you're freaking world famous in Edmonton if you're a hockey player and you play for the Oilers. So, excuse me, good on Kane for holding it down for us and playing really, really, really well uh, since coming to the Oilers. He's probably going to he's played himself into a good contract for next year because we just got him for till the end of the year. It might be hard for him to stay, but I mean, if we go on some sort of run, maybe he'll take a deal to stay with us for another year or two. Maybe we shall see. But he's really good. He was always one of my favorite players ever since he played with Winnipeg. Actually, he played with Atlanta, the Atlanta Thrashers, way back in the day. He was drafted by them, and so he's been around for a while, and so hopefully his success continues through the playoffs into this last few games and into the playoffs, and we can go on a bit of a run here. Super excited. Freaking next week is going to be just party central here in Edmonton. So hopefully I don't have to go to town. I don't want to go to town till I have to for Indian Relay. Before I get to, well, I may as well talk a little bit about the Blue Jays here. They starting off the season really, really hot. They just came out of Houston, winning 2 of 3. All 3 games were one-run games, and we won the first 2. Then we lost yesterday, 8-7. But the previous games were one-run games, low scoring games. And to start the season, our Jays are 10-6, 6-4 in our last 10. So yeah, we're right up. I mean, if you're looking at the standings, 16 games in, 10% of the way in, we're tied with the Yankees, which is I mean, it's too early to start looking at the standings, but it's a good sign that we're starting off hot. And George Springer, obviously, we got him from Houston, and his first game back this past Friday against the Astros, his first at bat. Of course, he goes long, hits one out of the park in Houston, in front of fans cheering him and welcoming him back. It was quite the return for George Springer. So I'm glad we got him locked up for quite some time here because he's on a winning squad and he's a champion already. Though that champion was obviously tainted when he won it with the Astros. So I'm glad that he's on our team and we're not freaking egregiously cheating. Hopefully, and yeah, I'm glad we're starting off hot, 10-6. We play Boston tonight. We start a series against them. I think we're back in Toronto, so division rival, and I think we're playing every day for the next 2 weeks. There's 20 games in a row 20 days in a row that we'll be having games, and so let me see this thing. This thing's always glitchy. Trying to see the schedule. Yeah, so Thursday, Friday. Yeah, so we played the Sox last week, and in Boston, we took 2 or 3 from them, took 2 or 3 from Houston. We play 4 against Boston again in Toronto this week. Then we host the Astros, who we just had 2 or 3 from, and then we host the Yankees, and then we go to Cleveland to play the Guardians, their new team name, the Guardians, and then I think we finally have a day off. Yeah, we finally have a day off after that. So it's a big stretch of games against really, really good teams, and this is a good measuring stick for us to see where we're at in the next couple weeks here. Other Toronto sporting news: the Raptors, they avoided being swept against the Philadelphia 76ers this past weekend. And so the series is now 3-1. No team has ever came back from 3-0 in the NBA. So if the Raps do it, it'll be the first. So either by the time I record the next episode, the Raptors will either be in it still and possibly go into like Game 7, or they'll be eliminated. Hopefully, it's the former, and we're able to string a couple more wins together because I mean, playoff basketball is a lot of fun to watch. I've been watching more playoff basketball this year than I really have ever, outside of 2019 when the Raptors made it all the way. Because I love the Inside the NBA guys on TNT. They're like the best sports broadcasters and the funniest, and they have the most chemistry. The four guys: Ernie Johnson, Kenny the Jet Smith, Charles Barkley, and Shaq. They're the best, and they're just worth watching, even if you're not even like a huge sports fan or even a huge basketball fan. Because I'm not like the biggest huge basketball fan. I've watched more basketball in the last like 4 years than I have in my whole life combined. So just watching them is entertaining. I like watching their stuff on YouTube, their clips, and I can go down that rabbit hole for hours and hours because it just crack you up. They have so much fun on set. It's like they talk like, I don't know, 35% basketball, the rest 65% just messing around. So they're must watch TV. I think they're on again tonight. Oh yeah, the Raptors do play tonight, and so yeah, like I said, hopefully we can stave off elimination for one more day. But some bad news on our front is Fred Van Vliet. He left in Game 4 with I think it's a hip injury. He's going to be out for Game 5. So just as we got Scotty Barnes back, we lose Fred Van Vliet. So it's an uphill climb, but Pascal took the team on his back in Game 4 there. So we're going to need someone else to step up, whether it be Pascal or another player, maybe Gary Trent Jr. We're going to need another player to step up huge to get this W. But on the note of Scotty Barnes wins the Rookie of the Year. So shout out Scotty Barnes for the Toronto Raptors, winning Rookie of the Year, becoming only the third Raptor in history to win that award, following Stoudemire and Carter in the late 90s. And those teams weren't nearly as good as the teams that we have now. So that's huge. Scotty Barnes had a tremendous year, and it came as a bit of a surprise to some of the league because there were some other candidates that were competing with Barnes for Rookie of the Year. But I think because what he contributed to the Toronto Raptors as far as getting the team into the playoffs, not just into the play-in round, he played a big part of that. Scotty did. So good for him. And go Raptors, go! Like I said, hopefully next time I record, we're still in it. Other news from that series: Joel Embiid, the 76ers shit talker. Oh man, the guy's like, he talks so much shit and he hasn't won anything. I remember in 2019 he was like doing that airplane thing in front of the fans, and they were making fun of him, and then we beat the 76ers, and then he leaves the freaking court crying. And then fast forward to this year, he's always chirping. He was chirping at Drake after the game, saying after game 3 it was, saying they were going to sweep us, and saying 76ers were going to sweep them, no problem, sweep the Raptors, and then we avoided that in Game 4, and then Embiid was like applauding the refs and criticize them a little bit, like kind of not directly, but kind of just kind of, it wasn't straight on. It was the way he worded it in his press conference was like, was he talking about the refs? Who's he talking about? NBA thought that he decided that he was talking about the refs, and he got fined $15,000 for criticizing the officiating. But I mean, $15,000 for one of those players ain't much, but that is worth noting. The other NBA series, I mean, I've been watching here and there, but I didn't predict at the beginning, so I'll wait maybe till to see if the Raptors continue or not, to talk more about that. In other news, before I get to TWISH, Oh, big news. Yeah. Miguel Cabrera. Oh, my goodness. What a legend. What a legend. He becomes the 33rd player in Major League history to hit 3,000 hits in his career. It's huge. 3,000 hits and 500 home runs. Miguel Cabrera. Legendary. First ballot Hall of Famer. He did that over this past weekend. He hit his 500th homer in Toronto, ironically, last season. And in his interview after hitting his 3,000 hit, he said he was grateful that he was able to do it in front of his fans in Detroit. Obviously, so obviously good for Cabrera. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he's been playing like my whole life, and he's one of the best to ever do it. And so good on him. Another legend that's still kicking and trying to get to 700 home runs is Albert Pujols. He signed again for with the Cardinals to try to get to that 700 mark, which is freaking crazy to even say. I think I got to look it up. Albert Pujols, how many home runs does he have? Because he played for LA last year, didn't get a whole lot of playing time, and then he came back to the Cardinals, where his career started. Oh my goodness. Legendary. I like how their stats, they got at-bats, runs, hits, RBIs, walks, average, but no home runs. Who is putting this list together? Albert Pujols, home runs. Let's see. He's got 2, according to this. This is messed up. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Of course, when you're trying to look up something, it doesn't go smoothly at all. He has 2 homers this year. Okay, yeah, that's what it is. He has 681 in his career, which is, I think it's got to be top 10. Top 10 for sure. All-time home run leader. But a lot of those guys up there, they got the juice, and they get the juice wherever they could put it. I know some of those guys. I mean, I heard some of the stories. They ran out of places to stick the needles, so they had to do it like heroin style, put it between their toes or something. I don't know. All-time home run leaders. Let's see this list. So Pujols is at 681. So he's, oh my goodness, he's 4th all time. Oh my goodness. Wow. Now he's going to have to play a lot longer to catch Barry Bonds, which, I mean, it's not going to happen. I doubt, unless he just plays this year, plays another year, and just goes on a tear. Barry Bonds is 762, Hank Aaron 755, Babe Ruth 714, Alex Rodriguez 696, and Albert Pujols 681. So he's 19 shy of 700. So he's going to have a good year to do that. But that'd be cool if he can actually hit that, because only 3 other players in history have amassed 700 home runs. There's only been 9 players to ever get hit 600, which is crazy. How many players have hit 500? 28. And number 28 is Miguel Cabrera this year. He hasn't hit one yet this year, but he's at 502. So hopefully Pujols can hit 700, just because I like seeing players hit those milestones, just like Ovi, hitting some crazy milestones in his sports of hockey. So before we get to TWISH, I just want to do a couple notes on some hockey stories here, real quick. The Canadiens honor Guy Lafleur. He passed away this past week. Died at 70 years old. One of the best players to ever play. One of probably the best Montreal Canadian to ever lace him up. they finally got home. The Canadians did after a road trip, and paid tribute to the late Lafleur. And I watched some highlights of it, and I guess they had like a it was crazy. It was like a 10-minute standing ovation after the video and the presentation for Lafleur. They definitely love their legends there in Montreal, and yeah, he was one of the best to do it. So rest easy, rest in peace, Guy, and you'll be missed by many. That is for sure. Other quick hockey news. This is something that I had to bring up. I do a couple things here. Zdeno Chara is still plugging away. I seen this. I couldn't believe it. It's been over 21 years since Chara scored as an Islander. 21 years. The longest span between 2 goals for a team in NHL history. 7,762 days was the time between Chara's goals for the Islanders. So Chara started with the Islanders when his career began, and then this past off season signed with them again. And he's been in the league for over 2 decades, and it's been 7,762 days between his goals, which it's a record that it'll never be touched. I mean, because first of all, who plays for that long, and second of all, going back to the same team and doing that with the same team is quite astonishing. I was speaking on Ovi just a minute ago. Something that also came up on my feed, which was quite crazy. He's only the 3rd player in history of the NHL to have 9 50-goal seasons. Alexander Ovechkin, joining the great one, Wayne Gretzky, and Mike Bossy, who actually did it 9 years in a row. That's a record. I don't know if it'll ever be broken either. But yeah, that's 9 seasons where he's had 50. That's, if you just do the math, if it's just 50, that's 450 goals right there. Bada boom, bada bing. Obviously, it's more because I think he had a couple 60-goal seasons in there as well. So yeah, good on Ovi. He's getting closer to the all-time great. But yeah, for TWISH, before I wrap up, TWISH, This Week in Sports History. Got a couple things here. Speaking on Gretzky, on this day, April 25th, I think it was 1960. No, sorry, 1980. Excuse me, 1987. Oh, excuse me, burping like a motherfucker. Sorry, 1985. April 25th. I don't know why I say October. April 25th, 1985. For the second time, the Great One scores 7 points in a cup game. He had 3 goals and 4 assists. That's for the second time. And that was only like that would have been his 6th year in the league. Incredible. 7 points in a game? Twice? That's nuts. Like, some of the stats that he puts up are just like mind-blowing. And as far as pitchers, there's a couple crazy stats on this day in sports history. This week in sports history, actually, it was where was it? Oh yeah, right here. 1962, April 24th, 1962. LA Dodgers pitcher Sandy Koufax, one of the best to ever do it, records his second career 18 strikeout game in a 10-2 win over the Cubs. 18 strikeouts. Holy shit. So there's 27 outs in a game. 18 of them were strikeouts. I mean, oh my God, nine outs otherwise. Only 9 outs would have been a fly out, line out, ground out. 18 of them were strikeouts. That's incredible. April 24th, 1978, on the note of pitchers and pitching, the Angels' Nolan Ryan, again, one of the best, strikes out 15 Mariners Get this, it's the 20th time he has 15 strikeouts in a game. Mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. And another mind-blowing thing in the game of baseball. 5 years ago today, April 25th, 5 years ago, 2017. It's crazy to say that was 5 years ago. Chris Coughlin pulled off one of the best moves to home you will ever see. He was playing, it was against the Cardinals. He was rounding third, coming home. The throw beats him to the plate. You can't bull over the catcher anymore. So you know what this guy did? This guy jumps over the catcher, does a flip, does like a head first flip, lands on his back, like kind of on his butt, getting up on the plate to score a run. Molina didn't even know what happened, couldn't even tag him. If you've never seen it, look up Chris Coughlin. Chris, how do you spell his last name? Coghlan. Chris Coughlin. He jumps over Molina. One of the best highlights you'll ever see. He jumps over him, does a flip, and scores a run. And one of the most memorable runs I ever seen. I'm pretty sure I seen that game live, and I just got mind blown. I was like, did I actually see that? Like, I wasn't sure that it actually happened. And hearing some of the calls from the highlights, Buck Martinez didn't even really react. Like, he wasn't even mind blown because I don't think he even realized what happened, because that's never really happened before in baseball. Somebody jumping over the catcher. What is this, like freaking football? And he's a running back? Because you see that in football, them hurdle over players, but never in baseball. And then he did a flip. Like, it was just incredible. So, I don't know if that'll ever happen again either. But going to be trying to record some of these a little more often here, especially coming down to the playoff run. See if I can get I want to see if I can get, I don't want to name any names, but a friend of mine on the podcast to do a playoff preview before it starts. But we're getting busy here, coming to the summer here. But I'll try to fit these in as much as possible. And it's coming up. We've done them for like 9-10 months now, so it's getting there. So if you are listening, thank you, listening all the way to this point. I appreciate it. And checking on you when I record next. Hopefully the Raptors are still in it. Go Raps, go Oilers. Definitely record before the playoffs start, and obviously go Blue Jays, go. But adios, amigos.